Let's try this again. Good morning. Good morning. All right, let's try this. Thank you all for being here at beautiful Balboa Park. This park is a symbol of what we love about San Diego. Its history, its beauty, its many places for the community and families to come together. Yet in some ways, Balboa Park is also a symbol of the things that we need to do to improve. And we are here in front of the Mingay Museum at the House of Charm because this treasure behind us needs some work. It needs repairs to its roof, its walls, and it needs a new coat of paint to restore it to its original luster. And that's why in this year's budget, I've introduced the largest investment in infrastructure in our city's history. And we can all see where the many infrastructure improvements are needed, and the obvious things, like our streets and our sidewalks. But they are also needed in things we don't notice until it's too late, like the buildings here in this beautiful park. If we don't take care of these great assets now, they will fall into disrepair. And with the infrastructure budget this year, the city will surpass $500 million in infrastructure funding for the first time in San Diego history. We have put $553 million into the capital improvements program budget. $16 million of that comes from Proposition H. And there is an additional $80 million from a commercial paper allocation that allows us to borrow what we need for infrastructure when we need it. That's $633 million, more than triple the infrastructure funding since from when I first took office in 2014. We will be building or improving our sewer and water lines, our streets, our parks, our sidewalks, adding more bike lanes, and many more neighborhood upgrades across the entire city. Upgrades like the expansion of the Tierra Santa Library, improvements to Choyas Creek and the Skyline Hills Community Park, and investments in our transportation options like the University Avenue Complete Streets project that is designed to more safely accommodate people who choose to walk or ride or drive. And of course, something near and dear to my heart, we're going to surpass 1,000 miles of street repairs well before the 5-year goal I set in 2015. Between these two funding sources, this infrastructure budget includes $101 million for repairs and improvements to city buildings like libraries, fire stations, water and wastewater facilities, rec centers, and our lifeguard stations. $59 million for roadways, traffic signals, sidewalks, bridges, and bicycle facilities. $16.5 million for parks, including expansion of ADA and safety improvements. $10.9 million for stormwater improvements like channels, pump stations, and storm drains. And we're putting $121 million towards Pure Water, San Diego, which will create an independent, drought-proof local water supply. This infrastructure investment is what is needed to improve the quality of life throughout the city, in every neighborhood. And my colleagues on the City Council have been ardent supporters of infrastructure investment. And this has been something that we've been united on. And I can tell you, when I looked behind, when I see Councilmember Kersey, Councilmember Ward, who chairs our committees here, to have this strong bipartisan effort of support, to know that it's all about investing in our neighborhoods, investing what makes a difference in the lives of San Diegans. That's where we should be spending our dollars. And so at this point, I want to thank Councilmember Kersey, who chairs, as I said, our infrastructure committee, and invite the council member to say a few words. Councilmember Mark Kersey.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good morning, everybody. It's my pleasure to be here today to highlight our dedication to rebuilding San Diego. I've had the privilege of serving as chair of the council's infrastructure committee since its creation back in 2012. Since then, Mayor Faulconer, the Infrastructure Committee, and the rest of the City Council have made great strides tackling our infrastructure backlog, passing key reforms, and investing more in our neighborhoods. In less than 3 years, we've repaved more than 800 miles of streets, making smoother, safer, beautiful new streets that are pothole-free. I'm particularly glad to see major repairs done, such as Rancho Carmel Drive in my district. But no matter where you live in the city, when your street is repaved, it makes an incredible difference to your community. As routine maintenance becomes the norm, there will be fewer potholes and our investments will last longer. But we aren't stopping there. There's more to be done. as we continue to make good on our promise to rebuild San Diego, FY19's fiscal year 2019's infrastructure investment of $633 million ensures the focus on infrastructure does not lose momentum. As the author of Prop H, the Rebuild San Diego ballot measure, I'm proud that in its second year, Rebuild San Diego is contributing to the largest infrastructure investment in city history. With this investment, we'll be seeing the meaningful improvements that voters approved back in 2016. Projects like street resurfacing, sidewalk repairs, new street lights, and upgrades to libraries and recreation facilities across every council district. Thanks to Prop H funds, the Mingay Museum, which we're in front of today, it is celebrating their 40th anniversary this year, will see needed roof improvements that they need to continue housing art from all over the world. Rebuild San Diego provides sustained investment in our neighborhoods, and it's just getting started. It will continue to reflect the city's commitment to invest in the infrastructure improvements that are vital to our neighborhoods and our residents' quality of life. I want to thank the mayor for his continued commitment to infrastructure improvements, and I'm excited to rebuild San Diego neighborhoods now and for future generations. Thank you all.
Thanks, sir. Thanks, sir. So I think you all know that Councilmember Chris Ward's district is home to many walkable, transit-oriented communities, and he has been a great advocate for our infrastructure improvements in not only those areas, but areas across the city. So I'd like to invite Councilmember Ward to say a few words. Councilmember.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and again, welcome everybody back to Balboa Park here this morning for this news. We are really excited, both as the vice chair of our budget committee and also as the council member who represents District 3, for the opportunities that we're able to invest in our neighborhoods across North Park, Hillcrest, right here in Balboa Park. There's a lot to look forward to in the next fiscal year, and we're starting off this budget cycle on sound footing because of many of the responsible decisions to hold the line on spending that council had to take over the last year. And because of those difficult decisions, we are on a better place to be able to provide some of the necessary infrastructure investments, especially right here in Balboa Park. Over the past year, I've been holding a number of conversations with stakeholders and residents about the needs of the park and our priorities, and one thing that we've heard loud and clear is strong. We need to invest in our basic infrastructure maintenance to make sure that we are supporting and sustaining so many of these great institutions right here in America's finest city's crown jewel. In our conversations with the Mingay team right behind us, it was clear that they had a unique vision for their institution, a vision to have more space be more accessible and inviting to the public. And I've been pushing to have these roof repairs for the museum included in the city's budget to better support that vision, and here we are. The Mingay Museum is doing a lot of the heavy lifting to make their renovation a reality, but it was clear that city leaders needed to do their part as well, and today we are. I'm glad that we could work with the mayor's office to highlight this need. He and his staff have been incredibly enthusiastic about stepping up and supporting this opportunity. And it's an excellent example of how the city can get the most out of our capital investments, and looking forward, a model for how San Diegans can work together to achieve transformational change. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Chris. Thank you. The Balboa Park Conservancy, as I think you know, does such a wonderful job of maintaining this jewel for our city, for residents and visitors to enjoy. And I'd like to ask Thomas Herrera-Mishler to say a few words. Tomas, where are you? There. Thank you.
Thank you so much. As we celebrate the 150th anniversary of the establishment of this park, when the City Council wisely set aside all of these acres back when there were only 2,500 people living in San Diego, and many people over time thought that this was way too much park for our city. I'd say we've got it just about right, and we're just delighted that the mayor has chosen to highlight his program of reinvestment in our city here in Balboa Park. The Balboa Park Conservancy is the city's private partner for the greater good here in Balboa Park, and we partner with the city, especially Parks and Recreation Department, and with the park organizations and community organizations to really work towards the best version of Balboa Park that we can possibly create for current and future citizens and visitors to San Diego. We really applaud the mayor's budget and his foresight in investing in the infrastructure of our city and our park, where the need is significant and growing. It's a wise investment when you consider that Balboa Park is a significant economic engine for our region. From tourism to health, real estate to recreational use, this regional park generates more than $350 million of economic impact annually. The park is also an important environmental asset with over 15,000 trees in our urban forest, and the Conservancy is currently planting 500 new trees in partnership with the city, furthering the Mayor's Climate Action Plan. So we're very grateful for the Mayor's support and for the Council's support for this important infrastructure investments in the park and throughout our community. We applaud this budget that calls for specific improvements to the Air and Space Museum, the Mingay Museum, and the Casa de Balboa. Investments in our buildings are an investment in the vibrant arts and culture ecosystem that thrives in Balboa Park, benefiting our city economy and enhancing our quality of life. Thank you very much, Mayor.
Terrific. Thank you. And finally, I'd like to invite Rob, is it Sidner, Rob? Seidner. Rob Seidner, who's our Executive Director and CEO of the Mingay Museum, to say a few words. And Rob, I just wanted to say the work that you are doing and your crew, many of you are behind you, are doing a fantastic job for our city and our region. Come on up, Rob.
It's a pleasure to be here with you today, Mayor Faulconer, in support of your 2019 infrastructure budget. Mingay International Museum is delighted to be among the beneficiaries of your commitment to Balboa Park. An investment in our park buildings is an investment in arts and culture, a $1.1 billion industry annually in San Diego. The funding proposed in the mayor's budget will carry out the much-needed replacement of the roof for this building, which serves 3 arts organizations: our museum, the San Diego Art Institute, and the Old Globe, and by extension, hundreds of thousands of San Diegans and visitors from around the globe. Our thanks to you, Councilmember Chris Ward, for making the mayor's team aware of the House of Charm's critical need for a new roof. Mingay International is investing tens of millions of dollars in a comprehensive renovation of our museum in order to make it more welcoming, accessible, and better able to serve our audience. This renovation will also restore historic elements of the building, improve its environmental impact and sustainability, and add new public landscape to the park. With the plaza level free and open to the public at all times, this Museum of Art of the People will truly become a museum for all the people and a living room for the park. Our thanks to you, Mayor Faulconer, for prioritizing capital improvements here in the park and throughout the city. As a member of Balboa Park Cultural Partnership, I can say that my fellow directors and their teams are planning dynamic new exhibitions, performances, and high-quality programs for San Diegans and other visitors for the coming years. We are also doing what we can to care for our city-owned buildings. This investment by you now shows that the city recognizes this, and we all are grateful for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you. Thank you to all of our speakers and all of the folks that are here today and support, in particular, our council members who continue to push to make sure that the budget is efficient, it's streamlined, and keeps the focus on neighborhood services. It's about maintaining these services, but also making, as I said, the largest infrastructure investment that the city has ever seen in a single year. So it's about making progress on that. It's about continuing that focus, not only in infrastructure, but particularly on public safety and reducing homelessness. So I'm looking to voters, so much more work to do, by the way, and I'm looking forward to voters having a chance to vote on a plan this November. Finally give San Diegans the dedicated local funds we need to finish the job on road repair and helping with our homelessness crisis. So I want to thank, just a second before I conclude, to recognize our Deputy Chief Operating Officer, Paz Gomez, James Nagelvort, who's our Director of Public Works, Chris McFadden, who's our Director of Transportation and Stormwater, Vic Bianas, Director of Public Utilities, and Mario Sierra, our Director of Environmental Services, who are all working so closely together on this. Look, there is a lot of work to do. The people behind us and the team with this budget and the support behind them are going to help this move forward in a big way and to make the changes not only just short term, but will last for the long term. Thank you all for coming. Appreciate everybody's strong support, and any of us will be available one-on-one to answer any questions. Thank you. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Aaron.